Hi, I'm Sean Manaher, and welcome to the Author Hangout. The Author Hangout is brought to you by bookmarketingtools.com, where we provide you the tools, education, and community to help you market your books better. And today is actually the season finale for the first season of the Author Hangout, and it's been a great ride so far, and we have a jam-packed show, not only with the topics that we're going to cover, but some really important guests that we have as well. So the things that we're going to be covering today are email marketing for authors, social media, finding readers, author platforms, and a whole host of other topics and ideas that I'm sure are going to come out of this. But with all these topics and with everything that we need to share, there is a panel of guests that I want to introduce you to. You'll actually notice them and you'll see that they're familiar faces. First, we have Jason Weiser from On Track Tips. Jason, good to have you here. Tara Meyer-Robson from Bestseller in One Day.
Hi.
Cristin Harber over at CristinHarber.com.
Hi, guys.
Kathy Meis from Publish.com.
Hey.
And Randy Ingermanson from AdvancedFictionWriting.com.
Hi, everyone.
And finally, last but not least, Tim Grahl from OutThinkGroup.com.
Hey, Sean. Thanks.
And again, guys, this is a pleasure for me to have such distinguished guests, and really in the episodes that you guys have been on, it's been a real treat. And I know today is actually an hour-long episode, so we have lots of time to cover all those topics that we're going to discuss. But before we get into that, I wanted to let everybody know, well, you might not know about it, but there's a giveaway happening today. At the end of the show, we're going to be giving away 3 packages, 3 bundles of fun for book marketing that you're going to be able to win. Now, you're basically, in order to qualify, well, you have to be on the show, and you're here, so that's good. And you need to fill in this blank. The fill in the blank is, I love the Author Hangout because ... Now fill in the blank. I love the Author Hangout because fill in that blank. Now, don't do it now. But when it comes time, the first 3 people that are sharing on Google Plus are going to be able to win a great package. Now, that package includes, and right before the show started, I had some interesting things happening where people were saying, hey, I'll give this. And so in this bundle, we're going to be taking you from writing your book to publishing the book to marketing the book to measuring results. And so these things included will be a free copy of Writing Fiction for Dummies. Also, your first 1,000 copies, a year of hosting through OnTrackTips.com, 3-month subscription to Publish.com, a free course for Bestseller in One Day, 3 uses of book marketing tool, the ebook submit tool. So there's a lot. I don't even know the value of that, but in really, we're here for the guests. But hey, if you're going to win something along the ride, might as well do that as well. So let's get started. This is going to be fast and furious. We're talking about these 4 topics of email marketing, social media, finding readers, author platforms. So we're going to get started. The first question in our first episode with Jason Weiser, we focused on social media for our authors. How does social media fit in for authors, and should they be active on one platform or every platform? And I'm just going to pick somebody, and that's going to be Tim. Why don't you start us out with that question?
Oh, man, I'm the wrong one to pick for this. So what I have found working with my clients and doing it myself is that social media is mostly a waste of time, especially when it comes to selling books. And the biggest reason is because people look at it and try to use it for something it's not very good for. So they think things like, well, if I just get enough followers or I get enough friends on Facebook or enough people like my fan page, that's going to turn into book sales. And what I've seen is, testing against people that have followings of like 200,000 or bigger, it just doesn't convert to sales like the way you should. And if you think about how people interact with social media, they're just taking sips out of this giant fire hose of information. And then things like Facebook actively cull out things out of your newsfeed, even if you friended someone or liked a page or something like that. And so, you want it just doesn't sell books. People think that it's a way to grow their fame, when in most cases it's a reflection of your fame already. If you just look at the top 100 people on Twitter based on follower count, they're independently famous. And like, I've watched people, my clients and my own Twitter following, if you look at my Twitter following, it's like all I do is retweet people that say they like my book. But yet, as my book has gotten out and my overall very small fame has grown, my follower count has continued to grow a lot faster than it used to, even though I do nothing on it. And so
Hmm.
I've found that it can be useful to like interact with like one person or reach out to one person, or I use Facebook chat a lot to stay in contact with certain people. But this idea that I'm going to grow this following, I'm going to grow this friend base or fan base, and that's going to turn into book sales, it just does not work. And you can see that from people that have millions of followers all the way down to people that have a couple thousand followers. It just doesn't convert the way that you think it will.
Wow, that's pretty startling. I wasn't expecting that answer. So what do you all what else do you all think? Any comments to that?
I have a comment. I won't disagree for you, but I think that there are a lot of authors who find that the engagement with readers is a great way to stay uh, connected and to talk with people and to slowly build a presence and a brand. I think, yeah, converting to book sales is tough in social media. I do think it is a point of discovery for new authors and new books. So it's often the first time someone comes in contact with a new author or book, and it's a great way to start the conversations. And you can find that engagement really helps you build a brand. And there's incredible amount of data that brand is very, very important in the crowded book marketplace that we live in. And so using it to kind of establish your voice, establish your persona, talk about your books, can over time really have a huge payback. It doesn't mean that it's going to be an overnight sell a million. It's not that kind of thing. But over time, it can have a huge impact on your brand and your brand awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to totally agree with exactly what Kathy's saying there. Social media is for building your brand, getting your face out there, making relationships, finding people. And so to your first question, should I use one social media network or multiple networks? To that end, first of all, publishing the book is hard enough on its own, let alone trying to be everywhere and spread yourself all over. If you're trying to sit there and be on Pinterest and Facebook and Twitter and build all these different audiences, you're not using your time efficiently. And in most cases, right, we're talking about bootstrapping authors here, right? I mean, you guys are the CEO, you're the author, you're a marketing director, you're managing your website, you're managing your social media. Who has time for multiple social networks? But and I do agree with Tim that if you think that you're going to just create this massive social media following and all of a sudden that's going to sell your book for it, you're wrong. But I do believe that you do need to be somewhere to create an audience. You need a community. You need some people to be able to vet information off, to beta test, to read your book, to help you, give you feedback, trusted, and not just friends and family that are going to say, "Oh, I really like your book." I mean, we need some people that are going to give us some honest criticism and feedback based on, are they clicking on your links? Are they following your marketing? And it's a great place to test your skills at marketing because, like Kathy said too, I mean, this is a highly dense market. I mean, everybody's a book marketer today, right? Everybody's publishing books, so it's extremely competitive.
Yeah. And Cristin, how have you experienced social media then, and in your experience on Twitter or any other platform?
I think like Tim was saying, when you have Twitter followers, I don't see book sales from that. But what I do see is Facebook paying off for me in dividends, and it's not my author page. It has been the private messaging with readers, the people that are like, I never expected a real life author to write me back. And I do, and they ask me questions about characters and things like that, and then they bring their friends into the conversations. I have a private page for the Titan readers, and last night we were talking about another author's new release today, and 2 or 3 new people joined the private page because they were in conversations with other people like, oh, well, Cristin Harber is talking about this book that released last night. Do you want to join the conversation? this book is similar to her book, and so I think I found a couple new readers that way. And I'm a big, huge fan of Facebook release parties. So
Well, and
they've done okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
no, I think the thing to point out here that I want to not miss is the way that you're describing it works is much more one-on-one connections with people. Like you can easily communicate with one person at a time or a very small group at a time, but there's this mentality out there that authors think if I dump a bunch of time into Twitter and I build a big following, that's going to get me a bunch of book sales. And I know we're going to talk about email lists, but I just look at that. It's not a permission. It's not a way to actually stay in contact with a lot of people long term. That's an email list, and a lot of people think that way. And where, yeah, I agree. Like one-on-one, having a few people that you can bounce ideas off of, getting a small group of people together, but thinking small and targeted and not big, which is what people think. They look at an author that has 1 million followers like a Gary Vaynerchuk and think, oh, he must sell a shitload of books with that Twitter following. But if you look at the numbers, he doesn't. And so they come from other places. So I think that's the mentality I want people to change from, is from mass to small and targeted.
You're totally right. And I think that even a couple years ago when I was still in the querying and submitting phase, I would talk to some of my author buddies and they'd be like, let's trade likes. And I would just wonder, why are we doing this? Because you're never going to buy my book. You're not my reader. You don't write the same thing I do. Like, why are we trading likes? This is silly. And I found that so many people would just, oh, we have to increase our numbers. Increasing our numbers makes us look legit. And it doesn't, and it's a waste of time. And so I agree with what you're saying. If I have 500 people on my Facebook page and 400 of them are other authors, what's the point? And I think for a while we were trying to impress other people and not looking at what the end goal of social media is. And you're right, it's tight focus on people who actually want to talk to you.
Right. I agree.
I would add, too, that, authors really need to think like marketers. So when you start a conversation, it needs to be optimized so you're drawing them towards your work. And you should have a fully optimized website where that email capture occurs. So when you do engage with a reader, someone who potentially could become a fan, you get to go to that more intimate space of email or private chat in the case of Facebook. But the best thing is to be able to capture data, which allows you then to continue to message that person in a more intimate way and for the long term.
And with that as a segue, and I think we're going to jump right into it, what would you guys say to the person who hasn't set up an email list yet? What should they be doing?
Well, let me jump in, Sean, and I want to throw one last little tidbit out there. I think it's a nice soundbite. Social media is not for selling. Social media is for engagement. Your website is for selling, and even better, one step further, your newsletter is for selling. So you need to define a strategy for that funnel. Use your social media to cast a wide net, to meet people, to shake hands, to get the word out, to do some networking, and invite them into your world, your blog. Once they're in your blog, then you take them to that next level, build their trust, and then encourage them or invite them onto your list. From your list, then we can get into your next question, right? Because you absolutely need a list. That's where you're going to do your sales. And I like what Sally Sue Ember, who's on the call right now, she says that unless Amazon is secretly hawking my books, my social media presence and my blog are the only way that I'm selling books right now, and that's so true. All right, Sally, you're meeting people on social media, you're engaging with them, you're connecting with them, you're saying, hey, here's my book, they may buy that. That's some wonderful one-on-one, but then you're bringing them where? To your blog, and hopefully from there to your list, and then that's where you're going to expand out and build that community.
Well, let me just jump in here and say that there's 3 stages of marketing that you need to work each of your customers through. The first is attraction. If they don't know you exist, they need to be attracted to you in some way. And social media is great for attracting people. The second stage is engagement. Once they know you exist, they have to become aware that you have something that they want, okay? And you can engage people pretty effectively on Twitter or Facebook or any kind of social media. But social media sucks at the third stage, which is conversion. You want to actually get them to pull out their credit card and buy your book. Social media does not work very well for that. The ProBlogger guys did a study, and they found that 87% of their sales, their conversions, were coming from their email list. Email shines at it. Email is fantastic for making conversions. So you've got to have these things sort of piped together. You've got to attract people, you've got to engage people, you've got to convert people. If you don't have all three of those working, you don't have a machine. You have parts laying around that don't work. Let me tell you what Facebook is very good at, and that's working with other authors. I think that every author needs a mastermind group, a bunch of people who are about their same level, who are facing the same problems they are, and who just need to get together for mutual support. So I'm on several different Facebook groups where I just interact with other people. We're not trying to sell to each other. We're trying to figure out how to solve our problems.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that's one of the things Facebook is very good for.
Sure, and with that, in switching gears on the whole email marketing, what are some of the components that somebody needs to have in place for them to have an effective email marketing strategy?
You really only need two things. You need a website where people can sign up, and then you need, obviously some professional email marketing tool. I recommend MailChimp, but there's plenty of others. You just need something, somebody to handle your email database, and then you just do it on a regular or irregular schedule. All you have to do is, you set the contract of here's how often you're going to hear from me, and then you execute on that contract.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing I would say there too, that I think a very simple next step to that, yes, sign up for MailChimp, get a sign up on your website. A very simple next step that a lot of authors miss is you need to set up 2 or 3 emails. They're called autoresponders inside of MailChimp. That automatically get sent to people that sign up, because there's so many times I sign up for a list and I get nothing from them for maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and then I get an email, and I might have randomly Googled something and landed on their site and thought, oh, this looks interesting, and throw in my name. I don't really know anything about them. So you need to set up 2 or 3 autoresponders that introduce who you are, what you do, and then invite them to buy your books. And if you do that, you'll have this automatic system where the more people that come to your site, the more people end up on your email list, and they will automatically get sold books. You don't have to constantly hand sell them. So yeah, those first 2 steps, and then just take the time to write 2 or 3 introductory emails that are like, here's who I am, here's what I do, and here's my books that you can pick up if you're interested.
Those autoresponders can actually be a part of what you give people. So on my website, I offer people a 5-day course in how to get published. And so in 5 days, I have 5 autoresponders that send people basic information on how to think about your publishing life and how to get your book published and all that sort of thing. And over 5 days, they get to know who I am. And that's part of the reason they sign up, is because they will get that free email course, which is just sent by autoresponders. It takes no effort on my part to do that. You have to mechanize this stuff. You cannot be trying to interact personally with every single one of the 7 billion people on the planet. You have to automate as much as you can, and then very selectively in social media, you can interact with a few people at a time. But that's high labor activity. You have to automate everything else. I see Tara nodding.
Yeah, I am. I am nodding because the automation is really critical, and I wanted to add to everybody's point here. One of the things I wish I had done is, before I had a book, start an email list. I thought, who's going to sign up for me? And I started to be really obsessive of, gosh, do I have enough content to give them? Even though I was writing, blog posts and things like that were helpful, but I thought, well, why is anybody going to want to sign up for my little, nook of the world's email list? I can't tell you, don't obsess about giving away something free right now. Just say, sign up for tips from Tara, or whatever your thing is, for the time being while you're writing your book. And a neat way to do that is you can do blog posts that are like pieces of your book and send those out. So that actually, even if you're fiction, that starts to get people kind of like, oh, this is this person's writing style, I'm interested in these characters. Or you can send out a character profile for something that you're doing if you're a fiction writer. It doesn't have to be some gigantic thing. And I think for most of us, and I don't know if everybody else did that, but I ended up, it just seemed like a mountain. Like I had to build a mountain before I could put an email, sign up for my email list thing. And I would just say, don't do that. Don't wait until your book is written. Don't wait until you think you have some great free giveaway that is the best thing anyone's ever seen. Just put it up there for the time being, and you'll be shocked. You'll actually start to get people signing up. And to add to Randy's point, but connect with them, and Tim's point, connect with them on a schedule. And those autoresponders, and I love MailChimp too, are awesome.
Yeah, and I want to add in here too. I want everybody to highlight this, what Tim said, quote this in fact, and tweet it using the hashtag. What's our hashtag today, Sean?
The Author Hangout.
The Author Hangout. Head over to Twitter and tweet the Author Hangout. And Tim's quote here, he said, invite your subscribers to buy your books. Folks, when you get them down to this point, once they're on your list, you've already taken them through enough hoops to get them down this channel. This is the point where it's okay to sell your book. It's okay to tell people, I have a book. We've made this relationship. You've gotten this far. And what I see so many of my clients, even in the e-commerce world, they're afraid to sell their products because they feel like they're being spammy. You're spammy on social media if you're always talking about your blog. You're not spammy if you're selling or providing opportunities for your customers, your subscribers to buy your products and your book in your email list. That's why they're there. I want your stuff. I want you to tell me how I can get this. Tell them.
Is there a certain point in which you wait to tell them, or is it immediately as they get on the list? How should that build-up be?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think it's different for each book, but the point is you need to have a strategy with that. You need to make sure that you keep looking at that and seeing where are people falling off. I mean, if you come right out with, if you're constantly blasting out tweets about yourself, people are going to shut you down, especially Google+. You come over and you keep posting. Come read my book. Check out my book. People are going to shut you down quickly. They're never going to make it to your list because they're not going to trust you. You're too aggressive. So that's just between you. You got to decide at what point is it appropriate, and it's just like, I mean, the old adage in marketing and social media, right? It's a cocktail party. How do you do it in a cocktail party? Do you walk right up to somebody and say, here, buy this? Or do you walk up and shake their hand, say, let me buy you a drink, or let's talk together, or wow, that dress looks really pretty on you, whatever. I don't know. Find some way to connect, and then at some point, they'll ask you about your book. Tell them.
Jason, that dress looks pretty. Would you like to buy my book?
I would, Sean. The book matches your eyes, by the way.
Yes, there you go, nice and blue. Cristin, how do you engage with the email marketing? What does that look like?
Basically, I've done before I had a book to sell. I did character interviews, and I think I only pulled my newsletter together maybe a month or so before I dropped my books. But I did character interviews. I dropped a couple snippets, and people were signing up. So now what I do is unedited snippets, sneak peeks at characters and scenes that people are really interested in. I tell people on Facebook and Twitter that I'm going to be sending out something exclusive on the newsletter, and I have them sign up then. And I always see a big jump in sign-ups. And what else do I do? Basically, I don't just push the sales component. I always add in something fun. I tell them what's going on with the characters or what to expect, how they can interact with other readers, which is a big thing I found. And I think that mostly I have a very good click-through rate on my newsletter. So I think a lot of it has to do with the component of I'm providing them something informational about the series. I'm giving them a buy link, and I'm also giving them something fun to do besides, spend money. So that's kind of where I'm at.
That's
yeah,
cool.
I love that. That's brilliant. I think that's it. You're kind of, instead of just saying, there's a sharing and a giving, a behind-the-scenes look, and then at the end of it, there's the opportunity is always kind of present for them to buy. But it's not the premier thing. It's not a buy this book. It's here's what's going on with me. You're drawing the readers into your whole creation process. And I would just add, I'm guessing that you must on your Facebook page have that MailChimp app installed, which is just a little tidbit not to miss. It doesn't just have to be on your blog, but it'll integrate right into your Facebook page. And if you can spin that exclusive, there's more. If you join my email list, you'll get a lot of signups that way.
I think one point here is make building your email list and getting all of your fans on the email list your #1 marketing goal. Like I say, tattoo it on your forehead. Like everything that you think about when you think about promotion or marketing, whether it's Facebook or speaking publicly or buying ads or whatever it is. The goal is to get them on the email list, because it's my biggest goal is more than selling a book. It's to get them on the email list, because then I'll sell them this book, and you know what? I'm writing a new book, so I want to be able to sell them that book too when it comes out. So everything should run through this filter of like, okay, should I do this, or should I do this, or should I do this? My number one question is, will that get them on the email list? Will that get them on the email list? If not, I don't do it. If so, I'll give it a try and see if it works.
And what are some of the things that you guys do to optimize your email your results? Are you guys doing testing? Are you changing up things? How do you do that?
I A/B test my newsletters. So I try different subject lines, and I try different layouts, and then I go back and look at my click-through rate and my affiliate links and all that good stuff to see like who's not only clicking through but who's purchasing. And then also MailChimp gives you really just good straight statistics, and I can see which link performed better based on where I put it.
Awesome.
Yeah, for me, I hate details and I hate A/B testing. Hate it, detest it. However, it needs to happen. Like, I just can't bring myself to do it. So a little tip for authors out there, especially those bootstrapping authors, is you can go to odesk.com or elance.com and search for somebody who knows what the heck they're doing, interview at least 3, make sure that you feel really comfortable with whoever it is, and have them do your A/B testing and all that good stuff that I don't want to do. And then they provide you this lovely thing, and you can, make decisions based on all that data. So that's my suggestion.
Well, everyone, and it's been a fast 30 minutes. It's been a good show. But actually, we're going to keep going. So this is an hour-long show, and I wanted to remind everybody that we have a giveaway at the end. We have a bundle of things that we're giving away. Writing fiction for dummies, your first 1,000 copies, bestseller in one day, hosting, Publish subscription, book marketing tools. So there's a lot of a bundle at the end for 3 winners, 3 of you, in finishing the sentence. I love the Author Hangout because... And we're going to keep going. So the next set of questions is talking about readers. Finding readers was and continues to be a major theme on our shows. What do you suggest to the author that struggles with finding their readers?
So I would say here, the best way to find new readers is to find where they're already congregating and show up there. Now, that's kind of like a big overarching statement, but a lot of times authors get stuck on like, okay, I got to guest post. I'm just going to guest post everywhere. There's so many different ways to find readers. You just find where they're already congregating, whether it's at live events or at other authors' blogs or whatever, and look for creative ways to show up there. And I have found if you keep reframing what you do, it gives you more and more opportunity. So one of this guy I was talking to, he left a corporate career where he'd been very successful, and he decided to do indie fiction writing, and so he's looking at it like a startup. And I'm like, you can be on like every entrepreneur and business podcast talking about this process, and at each one of those you're going to pick up new readers for your science fiction novels. So constantly reframe like what you do, things you're experts on. This is really important for fiction writers because you have to shotgun. It's really hard to find like a bunch of people in your genre hanging out in one place. You can in some cases, but not always. But if you talk to 100 people, 10 of them are going to be interested in your books. And so just constantly look for ways to find audiences, talk about what you do, talk about it from different perspectives, get creative, and always be inviting people to get on your email list and pick up a copy of your book. But look for anywhere where there's pockets of people that might be interested in what you're doing. One of my clients is writing a book on learning, and she's like going from homeschool group to homeschool group because in each one of these she's finding 50 or 100 people that are like rabid about teaching their kids, and they need to know how to learn. So she's introducing her book to them. And so it's like anywhere where people are congregating that you can show up and offer value, that's where you're going to find new readers.
And I want to throw in here too, dovetail off of what you're saying there, Tim, that, did I just freeze up?
You're good to go.
Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So I want to dovetail off of what Tim said, and maybe you're in a rural area, or maybe you're in a real small, remote area, and don't have access to these great live events. So what you can do is I encourage people to do the Hangouts on Air, because there's a number of different processes that you can go through with that. One, you get your face in front of people. Two, you're connecting with audiences. You're able to answer questions live, and most importantly, they're then indexed back to YouTube. And that's one of the things that we train over at repurpose.pro is why how to start with a Hangout and then repurpose that content all the way through, so that you can build this kind of an audience. And then now you've got this information that's living in all these different places, so it'll help. It's one way to help go to where your readers, allow your readers to find you based on your keywords and your hashtags. And then the other thing is Twitter client mining. I love this strategy where we go in and you just define who you are. What is my book about? Who is my avatar? Who's my perfect ideal client? Go to Twitter and start looking for that person. And then when you find that person, then go and just visit them, talk to them. Don't spam them. Don't say buy my book, but go and like comment on their thread. Start talking about their book. Start talking about them. Talk about their interests. It's a slow process. It's a slower gain. Or I think Jennifer on the comments here, she said this is slow and painful. Well, I think it can be, but that's how you're going to win. Is you're going to get one person at a time. You can connect like this. Maybe not as many as 101 room at a live event, but if that's what you've got.
I have 3 tips to add to this. I think these are all fabulous. There are reader groups, so on Facebook, on Google+, in Goodreads, even hashtags on Twitter, where people congregate around specific genres or subject matter. Those are a great place to start. I would say sometimes they do get kind of spammy and loud, so it's definitely a place where you want to try to extract people and start conversations elsewhere. Secondly, know how your readers are finding you. There's a great free tool called Google Trends. You can go in and you can put keywords around your, just guess. How do you think people are looking for horror fiction or thrillers or romance? Just start putting in the different keywords, and it'll compare them for you. It's really fascinating what you find out. And once you find those words out, that can help you with tagging and optimizing all your content with the right the right keywords. And often those translate into the hashtags you see on things like Twitter to start conversations. There's a lot of reader hashtags on Twitter. They're very specific to readers. Then combine them with a hashtag that's genre specific, and you start to draw people. The other thing, and it's a little bit close to this mining idea, is to start the conversation with someone on Twitter and see who's following them. So they're in your genre, or they write a similar type of book, and now you're sitting there talking with them, and you're also looking at who's following them, and start to follow some of those people and see if they follow you back. And that's a way where you're really specifically targeting readers that are it's not just readers, you want your readers, and that's the big difference. I mean, there are lots of readers out there, but do they want your kind of book? It may be the best book on the planet, but if that's just not their genre or their style, you want to find your readers for your project.
Well, Sean, if I understand your question right, it's how do we attract more readers? And let me tell you, nothing attracts like free. Nothing attracts like free. I have a bunch of friends who have, series of books written. These are novelists mostly, and they will make the first book permanently free on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Apple, the works, everywhere. And then people buy those books in droves, by the thousands or per month. They buy them, they're free, so it costs them nothing. And some fraction of those readers are in the target audience of the writer. And they go on to buy the second book, the third book, the fourth book in the series. And depending on what category you write, you may have a conversion rate from book 1 to book 2 of say 10%, 15%, 20%. It depends. So I did an experiment just a few weeks ago. I had a 3-book series that was published years ago in paper, went out of print. I brought it back into print as ebooks. And I really didn't do anything special. I just made the first one permanently free. Well, I've given away 18,000 copies of that book in about 2.5 weeks, and my, I won't give you hard numbers here. I'll just say that my sales for this month are on course to quadruple over last month. Total sales of my books. Okay, so nothing attracts like free. Now understand, if you give away 18,000 copies, only a fraction of those are going to be in your target audience. But all of them are potentially in your target audience. The only way to find out is to have them read the book. If they like the book and they become one of your core fans, you've gained a reader for the entire series, and you have in fact gained a reader for life, because at the end of your book you have a little link that says, here, sign up for my email list and you'll always know when my next book is coming out. And so now you've got a book that's attracting people to your next book, it's making sales for you, and it's pulling people into your email list. Free is an incredibly powerful machine, and you don't have to do anything. That's what I like about it. You don't have to mine Twitter, you don't have to get on Facebook groups. You just put it out there and let it go. And then I did now make use of your ebook submission tool, Sean, on your site. So this weekend I have a bunch of sites that will be promoting it as a free book. And I hope to see a bump in sales again, or a bump of copies moved. But it's just, free is powerful. It works for you 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
And Tara or Cristin, I wanted to ask, thank you for that, Randy. Tara or Cristin, when you just started out and were trying to find readers, what were some of the things you were doing?
You want to jump in, Cristin? Okay.
Yeah.
What did I do? Well, I had my newsletter list, and then I was also asking people to share. I wasn't only asking people to buy. I was asking people to share about my series. I didn't just publish one book at first. I had 5 titles that I put out. So there was a certain amount of, oh, look at this, and people were sharing that there's a new series that hit, and but I don't know that I did anything that was super special, other than the fact that I asked people. I made the effort, and I don't know if this is just a woman thing or what, but I know a lot of my girlfriends that are scared to ask for the sale. And I do it, and I say, will you buy? Will you share? Will you tweet? I don't do it spammy. I make sure that it's very, I don't know, not condensed, but I'm not scared of self-promotion, and I'm not scared to ask for reviews also. And I think that asking for reviews also for an unknown author in a genre that is very competitive, that helped a lot, was to get the reviews right off the bat. So those are my couple things. I was asking for what I wanted and pushing for reviews.
Well, I want to push back on that self-promotion. Like, I hate that word so much, because if I look, and I know why you're using it, and I totally agree with what you're saying, but people hear that and they're like, I hate self-promotion, I don't want to promote myself. But it's like, I've been reading tons and tons of novels since I was a kid. Like, every night I go to sleep reading a book. Like, I read and read and read because it adds to my life. Like, it makes my life better. And if you're a writer, it's because you like to read. And so you have to put yourself in the standpoint of, like, when people read your books, they're going to feel the same way about you and your writing. They're going to be excited they've read it. They're going to be glad they've read it. They're going to want to read the next thing. So the more that you put your books out into the world, the better this world will be, the more happy people will be, the more entertainment they will have, or the more they'll learn, And so, like, for my book, like, I confidently promote it because I'm like, it's $6. Like, it will get you so much more value than the $6 you're going to spend on it, and it's one of the best books on the subject. And even in the fiction realm, it's the same way. It's like, yes, buy it because you're going to be happy at the end of this book that you spent the money. So it's not about promoting yourself. It's about making sure you're inviting people to be a part of how you're trying to make this world a better place. And so, I know, Cristin, you look at it that way, and you're just using those words, but it's like that's how authors need to see their work. That's
a very good point.
Yeah. I completely agree that, and the best book promotion is a fabulous book. And if you've created something that's a wonderful experience, explaining to the world that it is a wonderful experience is not self-promotion. It's simply sharing something you created for the world. And I do think, you know, one of the things is just telling that creation story. It's a big part of what we do here at Publish, is just like telling the story of what went into it. You did not just take this on and just, you know, slap it together and throw it out here. You, as an author, really care about it. You put together this incredible piece of entertainment that's going to transport you from your, you know, your day job to some other place, and it's great. So share that. It's not self-promotion. It's really more sharing. And that type of social proof is, that's a word we use a lot because, you know, people just aren't sure. There is a lot of noise in the system. There are a lot of people who do create products that, you know, they don't take as much care with, and they don't, you know, it's not their career. This is not what they want to do with their lives. They just kind of slapped it up there to see what happens. Well, you've got to actually, as an author today, fight past that noise and let them know you really did care and you really created something of value. And it's very much like the entrepreneurial space. I mean, we call them, everyone, authorpreneurs, because there is a class of authors that are emerging that really take this very seriously. And I think telling that story is important.
I think you're right, and maybe self-promotion is the wrong word, and I kind of agree with what you're saying, Tim, also, but the idea that we are our CEO, CFO, CMO, all of those things, we are business owners, and we have to promote ourselves being the author or the series or something like that. So promoting is something that I think people are scared of, and it almost goes back to, I think, what Tara was saying about the email list. I don't have anything to send out to my email list yet. Well, it doesn't matter. You have to start now. You have to, you know, put some money into a Facebook ad. You have to reach out and do your newsletter list. And I think that people are nervous about doing that when they don't have anything to offer. They think they don't have anything to offer.
Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, we are, at least fiction writers, entertainers, and when we do these character profiles and these blog takeovers, and I think Jason said something about repurposing, and I think you were talking specifically about YouTube or audio, but I can take a blog takeover and do a character interview there, and then splice some of that off and put it on a Twitter or on a tweet, and then stick some of it on a Facebook, and then compile several blog posts and stick it at the end of a box set where people have already bought 4 or 5 books, and say that I have new material and put a box set price on it. I think that there's a ton of ways that you can take what you've done and entertain and continue to, you know, increase sales and readership and interaction, and at the same time increase your presence on the web or on Amazon or wherever your goal is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tool time on the Author Hangout. It's tool time on the Author Hangout. So we're going to be talking about what tools do you use to write, publish, and market your book or business. What are the tools that you guys are using right now so that authors know what they can do? And Tara, you've been really quiet. You're holding back. So why don't you start out with sharing what are the tools that you use for writing, publishing, and marketing your book?
All right, yeah, no, I was actually just laughing because I was so dense when I started out. So when you asked that question, oh my God, oh my gosh, I just, whatever. The book won a couple of awards, and I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to get all kinds of sales from this, and no. Anyway, so as far as what I use right now, my favorite thing in the world, and one of my best tips, I think, is I use for a lot of my sort of workbooks and things that I do because I'm in the personal growth world as well, is Vervante.com. I don't know if anybody on the panel knows them or uses them, but they do print on demand. It's extremely high quality. So, and they also do books. They do normal books. So if you want to do it that way, they do distribute to Amazon and Barnes & Noble. But what I love best about them is they handle all your distribution and any returns you might have as well. So everything's wrapped into this one price. For a lot of people, especially self-published authors, I think they're great to work with because instead of ordering 10,000 books to get the cheapest print rate for a physical book, if you're doing a physical book, and then suddenly having them in your garage and like wandering around the neighborhood knocking on doors hoping someone will buy one. This way, you sell one, you sell something on Amazon, it's printed, and it's sent out to the customer, or Amazon buys them ahead of time, puts them in the warehouse, and it's sent out. So that's vervante.com, VERVANTE.com, and I've just found them extremely highly professional to work with on a lot of my sort of like physical products and things like that.
Okay. Randy, what about you?
Well, I have two go-to tools that I use for my writing. The first is, I hate to be selfish, but it's one that I wrote myself and I sell on my site. It's Snowflake Pro, and it walks me through story development. Once the story is developed, then I write it in Scrivener. And Scrivener is just an amazing writing tool. And what I love about it is that at the end of it, you can press the button and it will create the ebooks for you in Mobi, for Amazon, and in EPUB for everyone else, so that would be Apple and Kobo and Barnes & Noble, and you're done. So those are my two tools that I use.
Awesome.
Very simple.
Very cool. Kathy, what about you?
Well, I'm going to be a little selfish here because I'm not promoting a book myself, but our platform is here to help authors promote their books. And the really exciting thing, from what I'm hearing, we're headed in the right direction. And we talk to authors all the time. And one of the ideas, we've created a sampling tool called the Book Bubble, which is a highly social, highly shareable piece of your book content enriched with your story behind the story, which is your author insight. And so it allows you to repurpose your best content. It allows you to share samples with this kind of director's cut feel to it. But as we move forward, we're also probably in July, my tech team is like shaking in their boots as I speak. But very soon, we will have a tool that while you're writing your book, you can be promoting it with rough cut book bubbles, and also make these pieces of social content, enable them to capture emails. So doing exactly what we're talking about, where there's this synergy. So you're sending out little tidbits of your book. They're enriched with your author insight. They're very visual. They have your links to your website. They have a bio, synopsis, everything in one screen, and then having them really enriching them so you can draw people towards that email list.
And that's very cool. That sounds like an exciting tool. Can't wait for that to come out. That's really great. Tool time with Tim. Tim, what do you think? What are some tools? I had to say that. What are some of the tools that you're using over at your group?
So for all of my writing of my blog posts and even some other things, I use Byword, B-Y-W-O-R-D. It's a Mac app that it's one of these that makes it really simple to clear everything out on your computer so you can write. And then with one click, I can turn it into a draft on WordPress that I then send to my editor, and she cleans it up and then it gets posted. So it allows me to write in a very clean environment where I can then just it automatically drops right into WordPress for my editor to look at. From there, I was actually thinking, for a guy that's supposed to be pretty technical, I don't use a lot of interesting things. I just, I use Evernote to keep track of things. I think more people should use Evernote as just a dumping tool. One of the things I do is anytime I find an author page that I like, I'll just screenshot it and drop it into Evernote so I can refer to it later. That's a really useful tool. As far as cool marketing tools, I use MailChimp and WordPress. That's really all I need. And then one thing I do use, because Facebook is a black hole of productivity, but yet that's where people want to chat with me, and I have a small group of people I interact with there. I use Chatbook, which it's just the chat. I got it from the App Store on the Mac. but so I don't have to go to Facebook to chat. It just is it's like an instant messenger, the instant message piece with nothing else. So I don't end up, reading BuzzFeed for 3 hours. So, so most of the stuff I do is try to actively cut out things out of my life that don't get measurable results, and then just focus on the 3 things that actually do.
That's very cool. Very cool tools that you're using. Even though you're not using many, you're using ones that I think that are going to be very helpful for authors. And simplicity is good. Cristin, what do you think? What are tools that you're using?
I do love Scrivener, but something I don't know a lot of people know about is something called GoChime, and I know that there's a lot of programs out there that are similar, but you can take basically your newsletter list or your Facebook likes, and you can create custom audiences that mimic those people's buying habits or Facebook habits or something like that, and it helps target your Facebook ads better. So I found some pretty good success with GoChime. And the other tool I have is my Crit Partners, and I from conception of a book to release day, they are it for me. We work pretty closely together, and I swear by it.
Very cool. And Jason, you're at the crossroads. You're on the business side, but you have a book in you. I know you do. But from a business side, what are some tools that you're using that you could easily see could apply to the author side of your future?
Yeah, well, I think everything that's been mentioned so far, but the main thing that I'm focusing on with our clients, who many of which are authors, is just helping them define their process, helping them define their strategy and their overall map, and then helping them to determine what are the best tools for them. So, the question earlier, should I be on one social media network or many? We help them come to that conclusion of just one. Okay, how do we do that then? Let's find a solution for getting you on that one. So I really don't have an answer for the best tool, because we provide more of a holistic strategy, looking at your resources, your time, your budget, and your end goals, and then helping you come up with a strategy that'll fit all of that.
Okay, very cool. And guys, we're almost to a draw. We're about 8 minutes out, and I wanted to let you know the Author Hangout has really, we're seeing comments flooding in the Google Plus Hangout here over and over again, talking about what are some of the questions that you have. So if you have questions that you want to have answered, and we'll fill in some time a little bit later to get those questions answered, but I do want to say to the audience, this is a season finale, so thank you. Thank you so much for making it the show that it is, and the reason why we have so many people, the amazing guests that we have on. And I want to let you know, this is a season finale, but we're not done. Over the course of the next 3 months, we're going to be looking at coming back in September. In July, we're going to be releasing a book. In July, we're also going to be releasing, we talk about finding readers. Well, we're going to be creating a platform so that to help you find readers called readingdeals.com. In addition, there's going to be a video series that we're going to be releasing with a unknown special guest panelist that's going to be helping us partner in providing some video content. And if you haven't done so already, bookmarketingtools.com/free guide. That's where over 1,000 authors have already connected with us. But that's a little bit about what we're doing as a season finale. We're wrapping things up. But I did want to say this. Guests, I want to hear from you. What are you guys up to this summer? What are some of the things that you're doing? How can people find you? We can start right from the left to the right. Cristin, tell us a little bit about what's going on this summer for you.
Let's see. I just released my first book in audio, which has been awesome. And let's see, I have a new adult romantic suspense title releasing on July 7th, which the new adult component is new for me. And I have a box set that focuses on SEALs, Navy SEALs. I'm partnering with some huge names that I'm just absolutely in awe of. So, and that releases July 22nd. I'm pretty sure it's called Alpha SEAL box set, something like that. So check it out if Navy SEALs are your thing.
Very cool. And where can people find you? What's your website?
It's Cristin Harber, CristinHarber.com. And I'm awesome. On Facebook, Twitter, wherever. You can find me. I'm around.
Very cool. Jason, our Season 1, the Author Hangout, the first guest that we had, where can people find you and what are you up to this summer?
Yeah, so I'm up to a couple different things. First of all, you can find me at ontracktips.com, and I encourage everybody to head over there and push the big red button. It's kind of become our little okay. So and then that'll get you in contact with us, and then you can come and watch the On Track Tips interview series. We have guests on like Guy Kawasaki and Chris Brogan and many others. That's 1 o'clock on Mondays, Eastern Standard Time. We've also just launched wisersites.com. We had to buy our own dedicated server for On-Track Tips and for our clients that we help manage. So I'm so excited about that, and we bought extra space on that dedicated server. So we're going to be offering hosting for friends and subscribers of On-Track Tips. In fact, I'm giving away. I just posted 50% off for your first year of hosting, only until midnight though, Sean, and only for your readers right here. So if anybody needs hosting right now, go ahead and grab 50% off of what is essentially dedicated hosting, speed and performance and security at shared hosting price. And then the last thing that we're working on is repurpose.pro, and that is helping people understand the power of Hangouts so that you can repurpose that Hangout for the purpose of, YouTube traffic and blogging and Twitter and, just like Cristin said, many different ways that you can repurpose content, over and over again to increase your ability to multiply yourself with less amount of time. So repurpose.pro.
Thank you, Jason. Kathy, tell us a little bit about what you're up to this summer and how people can connect with you.
Well, they can find us at Publish Me on Twitter, and we're on Google Plus and Facebook. We love the social space. And right now, we just launched our Authorpreneur Dashboard, which really is giving authors the first time social metrics around the book bubbles, and lots of exclusive content on how to build brands. So we're very excited about that. We have an early bird special to July 15th. And then the next piece of that is to get out this really revolutionary tool that will allow authors to actually be promoting while they're writing. Because especially with that first book, you never want to launch into silence. And I think with all the authors here, like you say, if you went back and you started over, you'd have started building that platform as early as possible, and just finding those people are going to support you on that first book when you don't have the brand. And, nobody knows if you're a good writer or really knows who you are as a human being or as a professional writer. So we're really excited to launch that. And you can come and, put your book up at publish.com for free, your first book. And then we've got lots of programs to help you. So we're building software to help authors.
Very cool. Thank you, Kathy. Randy, tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Well, you can reach me at advancedfictionwriting.com. If you can't remember that, just Google how to write a novel and click the #1 result. That will take you to an article on my page that's been viewed something like 4 million times on my famous snowflake method of how you design your novel before you write it. And the big thing coming up this summer is that I'm finally writing a book on the snowflake method. It should be out in sometime in the next 2 weeks or so. So I will be releasing that on all the usual suspects as ebooks and on CreateSpace on Amazon. Excellent. So really looking forward to finally having a book out on that. That's it.
Thank you, Randy. And Tara.
Oops, I'm muted, sorry. Well, you can find me on Meyer-Robson.com, TaraMeyer-Robson.com. You can, on there actually, and I meant to say this, Sean, if somebody wants to purchase the Bestseller in 1 Day program, in honor of your 10th episode, I put a big coupon out there, so if they go to my site and they go to products, they can get it, and it's $50 off, so that makes the product, I think, like 39 bucks or something, and it's Book Market 10. Book Market 10 is the code, and I'll put that in the chat as well if somebody wants to grab it. So I'm doing that. I'm writing my second book, which I'm super duper excited about. I wasn't sure I had another book in me after that first one, but I think I do now. And finally, the most exciting thing going on this summer is we're adopting a little boy. So cool. We think we're going to have him by August, so we'll see.
Very cool. Very happy for you guys.
Yeah, I know. I'm super excited.
Congratulations. That is incredible. That made my day.
Hey, Tim, last but not least, tell us a little bit about what's going on, how people can reach you.
So I just kind of finished up like a year-long project I've been working on of promoting the book that came out, and now I'm gonna spend July and August. I've got a new book idea I'm moving to. I've got a lot of research I've got to do on it before I can start writing it. So I'm beginning that now, and and you can find me at outthinkgroup.com, which is really hard to spell, so just Google my name or anywhere close to that and you'll find me. And I have a free 30-day email course that anybody can sign up for, and then I'm just trying to enjoy the summer and make sure I end up at the pool as much as possible.
That's awesome, Tim. And thank you, everybody. Audience, are you ready? Fill in this blank. First three that enter it in, and don't put it in yet, but it says, ready? I love the Author Hangout because... Go. And so with that, you're going to win a bundle, Writer Fiction for Dummies, your first 1,000 copies, 1 year hosting through OnTrackTip.com, 3 months of subscription from Publish, their premium, a bestseller in 1 day, 3 uses of book marketing tool, ebook submit tool. Now, that is it. Guys, thank you for a great season 1 of the Author Hangout. Thank you to our panelists and all our guests and the audience that has been part of this all. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.
Thank you.